Thank you all for being patient since I was tardy on the candles. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church. We are a church of open minds, loving hearts since 1866, celebrating many sources of wisdom and many spiritual paths. Your faith, your doubts, your questions, your identity are welcome here. You can find information about upcoming events in your order of service or our website. There's a lot going on, even in these COVID times, so check it out. Everyone is welcome to extend our time together over coffee and donuts and conversation, either downstairs in the Commons or, depending on how the weather develops for the rest of this morning, you're welcome to move with your coffee outside to the courtyard and enjoy our August summer. Today we are glad to welcome our guest preacher, Reverend Rita Capizzi. Reverend Rita spent her childhood and youth as a native of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. For 25 years, she lived and raised a family in Buffalo, New York. While working as an English professor at a Jesuit college, I love all of that ecumenicalism. She enjoyed international travel to Europe, southern India, and Tanzania with students and colleagues. She entered Meadville Lombard Theological School in 2015. Since then, has been granted fellowship by the UUA in 2018. She has served the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship in Mankato as its first full-time minister. We are so glad you are here. As is our current practice on most Sundays, our entire offering of our collection goes out the doors of our church to support the work for a more just and loving world. August recipient will be Channel One Food Shelf, providing nourishment to southeastern Minnesota families and those who are food insecure. You can give as the plates pass or online, and thank you ahead of time for your generosity. Now let us enter this time of worship with these words from our minister in the 1870s, Reverend Eliza Tupper Wilkes. May our faith in humanity and our message of hope and good cheer light our way. It is good to be together.
Good morning. And let us light our chalice with these words, sign and gathering point of our community. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the glories and the mysteries of this great gift. And now I invite you to rise in the way that's best for you, to sing hymn number 324. It's in the gray book if you have a book, and the words will be here on the screen.
I'd like to invite any children forward today to listen to our story. I see some friendly faces coming. Has anyone seen somebody in an object? Like if I said, I look at that picture and it reminds me of someone. Has anybody had that happen to them? Yeah. So that is what today's book is about. And I want you to think about people that you see in various things around. So, In You I See, by Rachel Emily, illustrated by Jody Howard. When I look at you, I see much more than what meets my eye. I'm not sure how to list it all, but with this book, I will try. In you, I see a tiger. Your stripes are bold and bright, as brave as you are beautiful in orange and black and white. In you, I see a river, your waters clear and cool, awash with life and energy in every stream and pool. In you, I see a swallow in swooping, nimble flight. Your safe return from far and wide is an ever welcome sight. In you, I see an oak tree with branches broad and long, and in a storm, you'll always have your roots to keep you strong. In you, I see a spider with careful, gentle tread. May every moment of your life be spun with silken thread. In you, I see a butterfly, your wings a dazzling pair, emerging from your snug cocoon to decorate the air. In you, I see a rainbow, your colors rich and proud of sunbeam shining through the rain and lining every cloud. In you, I see an elephant, determined, strong, and kind, supported by a family where no one is left behind. In you, I see a daffodil, a yellow burst of spring that fills my day with happiness and brightens everything. In you, I see a mountain. I know you're not that tall, but those we have inside us are the biggest of them all. Do we all have a mountain inside us? What does that even mean? In you, I see an ocean with so much more to know, a world of wonder deep and wide where coral gardens grow. And in you, I see the sun and moon, the earth and every star. In you, I even see myself, how magical you are. In you, I see so many things, too many for this book. There's much to see in everyone, and all you need to do is look. So sometimes when we talk about when people die and we say they live forever, where do you think they live? They can live in our hearts. We can see them when we see a bird fly by. They can make us remember. And so that's what this is. So I want you to look around and see if objects or things or birds or animals remind you of people who are important to you, and then hold on to that thought. Joe is now going to play the interlude, and we will go down to the Commons again today for some activities.
Good morning. It's good to be with you. I invite you to settle in here as we create a place of communal caring and connection. It's our time to pause amidst the busyness of our lives, to slow down enough to consider the beauty that is here all around us, and to open a space for listening and love. Here we honor all who support us in this caring, loving, and all-inclusive ministry. We send gratitude to Vicki Wolf, serving as our caring coordinator, arranging care for our members and friends in need. Jean Hansen will take over for the next week, and we thank her for that. The members of our caring committee are wonderful examples of our compassionate community, holding us up as we go through challenging and happy times. These last 2 years have taken a lot out of us. They've taken a lot from us. If during this time of increasing needs in our lives, you are experiencing challenges, we encourage you to reach out for support and help. Many of us may need additional care, whether it be personal pastoral care or other assistance, and we encourage you to reach out to Reverend Luke or myself with that request. So as we settle in here, breathe deep the breath of life. Feel below you the earth and its ancient turning, and above you the sky and the stars shining with ancient light, holding you in this space, yourself made of earth and stars. Sit deeply here in this community of love and justice, hope and grace. Know that here you are named and you are known as beloved. I invite you into this time of meditation, this time of prayer, first by sharing a silence together. Spirit of life, source of love, God of many names and beyond all naming, we hold in our hearts all those who suffer in mind, body, or spirit. I invite you to bring the names you're holding in your heart this day, in joy or sorrow, celebration or concern, and silently or aloud now in this time to speak their names. For all those names spoken and unspoken, may we be held in love and grace. May the faith and the spirit of life, love for the community of earth, and love for the light in each other be ours now and in all the days to come.
I'm going to invite you to stay in that space. I invite you into this time of prayer, reflection, and meditation. Settle into your mind and your body as it is in this moment. Close your eyes or simply soften your gaze. Bring gentle awareness to those parts of you that hurt. Follow your breath, knowing you are not alone in your pain, no matter its nature. We breathe together in this time of witness and compassion. Open your heart to the spirit of connection. Spirit of life, God of our understanding, holy everything, sacred everything. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the glories and the mysteries of this great gift. And here we are together this morning. Though gathering in community is not so easy, no longer as effortless as it once seemed to be. Though gathering in celebration is not so easy, When worry about the miseries of this world overwhelm us, the violence and brutality, the oppression and injustice, the casual hatred and animosity, the disregard for the condition of our planet and all its beings. And yet, somehow, some way, cosmic dust conspired to create not only sun and planets and mountains inside us and outside us, but also atmospheres and water and growing green plant life and diverse, abundant animal life, the respirations of the whole green-blue world making paradise. Somehow, some way, this same cosmic dust gave rise to predecessors uncountable, to ancestors known and unknowable. Somehow, some way, the cosmic dust gave rise to our own selves and to every person we have ever loved or ever will love. May we feel it holy and good, every one of our efforts toward community, partial as they may sometimes be. May we feel it fully, holy, and good to celebrate life for the mysterious gift that it is. May we revel and glory with the wonder of a child and the humility of an elder, even as we strive for truth and knowledge. May we aspire to be inspired by the possibilities of the unknown and the unknowable. May we open our hearts to this mystery and allow it to guide us to hope today and every day. Let's just share a stillness.
Our reading this morning is In Blackwater Woods by Mary Oliver. Look, the trees are turning their own bodies into pillars of light, are giving off the rich fragrance of cinnamon and fulfillment. The long tapers of cattails are bursting and floating away over the blue shoulders of the ponds. And every pond, no matter what its name is nameless now. Every year, everything I have ever learned in my lifetime leads back to this: the fires and the Blackwater River of loss, whose other side is salvation, whose meaning none of us will ever know. To live in this world, you must be able to do 3 things. To love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends upon it, and when the time comes, to let it go, to let it go.
Well, good morning again, everybody here and there. As we know, worship doesn't happen by accident. It takes many people to make it happen, and I thank everyone this morning who is here to make worship happen, and all of the makers of music and song and poetry and story who bring the message, all of us together. I'll just be talking a lot. The poet says, to live in this world, you must be able to do 3 things. To love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends upon it, and when the time comes, to let it go, to let it go. How on earth are we to do these 3 things when grief and sorrow overwhelm us? What kind of life can we have with death a constant companion, still managing to live with hope, guided by love? This we ask today. When I was a little girl, my father would talk to me while he was occupied with other tasks, like polishing his shoes or cleaning his shotgun after a hunting trip. He would talk about hard truths without looking me in the eye, and I suppose that made the conversation more fluid. Once he asked, "How do you know that we are not living on a speck of dust in the pocket of a giant?" I don't know where he came up with that one. He was not an educated man. He didn't read a lot. He watched a lot of Westerns on television, and we didn't have a lot of books in our house. Horton Hears a Who was not one of the books we had in our house. But he did pick up things on talk radio, and he was a thoughtful man. Maybe we all were just minuscule motes living in the blink of an eye on infinitesimal specks. I don't remember answering the question. I don't remember his answer for that matter, but the question has remained with me. Lately, I have been spending time, as I imagine a number of you told us that vastness can make us feel small and inconsequential, our short lives and our inevitable deaths meaningless. And yet, even though Copernicus and Galileo had already taught us that the sun and not the earth was the center, it doesn't always feel like that to me. My hopes and dreams are at the center of things. My grief and sorrow at the center, the living and dying most affecting me, my shadows. The microcosm of our own selfhood so easily and naturally slips into the center, so easily becoming the macrocosm, despite those images from space. Now, while my father polished his shoes and cleaned his shotgun, among other things, I grew up in the valley of the shadow of death. Some of you grew up in the same valley, the 1960s version, though perhaps without the same preoccupations, we'll see. We watched the Vietnam War on TV, on the nightly news. I watched my father's selective service number not be drawn in the lottery as the numbers of other fathers were drawn. We watched the urban riots in Compton and Miami and Chicago, or those uprisings for justice, another way to name those events. Along with the rest of the neighborhood kids, I played not cowboys and Indians, but war, with realistic-looking toy rifles, running amok through small woodlots and open grassy yards, fake shooting at some enemy I couldn't confidently name, but who looked a lot like the annoying, pushy boy from across the street. And our family buried many pets on our property, several cats and more dogs and the occasional wild robin. Maybe this version of the Valley of Death feels familiar to you. Some things are perhaps more particular to me and my journey through that shadowy valley. In addition to the speck in the pocket of a giant question, my father laid another startling and unsettling truth on me. He told me, we are dying from the moment we are born. Not technically accurate, of course, but true nonetheless. In 1968, I saw the original George Romero zombie movie, Night of the Living Dead, at a drive-in theater. Some things did not seem to die, although they were really not quite alive either. I was 7. At about the same age, I practiced being dead by lying on the grave, my head up against the tombstone of a 6-year-old child long gone before I ever explored that particular cemetery, one among many. And when I was 9 years old, my neighbor and friend, Annie, died at age 10 of a horrible congenital illness that shaped her entire short life and that of her family and all who knew her. We little girls would play seance, 4 or 5 of us all crammed into the dark closet in Annie's bedroom. We practiced calling the spirits of grandparents and elderly aunties. We practiced levitating Annie on our fingertips. My parents would not permit me to attend Annie's funeral, possibly, but not kindly, because they could not face the fact of a child dying, could not face her grieving parents, not quite prepared for what they knew would happen to Annie. After she died, we didn't try any more seances. Maybe we were afraid to, and we knew they didn't work anyway. We all had to learn instead how to live with Annie's absence as now her only presence. Those of us born before the 1960s, those of us born after the 1960s, we all have our own versions of the Valley of the Shadow of Death, the Great Depression and World War II, endless wars and street violence, 9/11, mass shootings in malls and schools and grocery stores. Our own neighbors and loved ones dying regardless of our need for them to stay. There is no end to the death. There seems no end to our apparent smallness in the vastness of the universe's time and space, what some might call the eternity and infinity of God. And still, echoing the still small voice inside us, the poet calls us. To live in this world, we must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against our bones, knowing our own life depends upon it, and when the time comes, to let it go, to let it go. What I had sometimes worried might be an obsession with death. A wise spiritual guide suggested instead that I am living closely with thoughts of mortality. Maybe that sounds better. Through my first profession, I studied the English Romantic poets Wordsworth and Keats, very interested in mortality and immortality. And then later, the American Romantics, Whitman and Dickinson, nature as the resting place of everything, all the way to Mary Oliver. These poets all helped shift us as culture from a notion of the divine apart from this physical reality to the presence of the divine within it, a part of the natural world. Not simply the creator of a beautiful planet and a marvelous universe, but inhabiting this beautiful material beingness. The Jesuits talk about that too. Those poets, though, they showed a way to die and also to live more closely to the material beingness that is the divine also. They opened a pathway within the truths of science, with our own intimate and shared knowledge that we are made of the same cosmic dust of the stars, that the elements of the universe infuse our earthly home and our own bodies, both when we live and when we are dead. In the child is visible the tiger. In the child is visible the water. In the child is visible the mountain, whatever that means. In you, I see all this, all that is, and all that will ever be, in forms newly manifesting all the time, even as other forms are dying away. I find that comforting. It helps me to be less afraid of my eventual death. It helps me be more at peace with my father's death in December of 2020, and with my brother-in-law's death just this last April. Not simply my memories of them live on, but their particles echo through the material elements of the starry heavens and the transforming earth. Do you find comfort in such a thought too? We are all of us living into a mystery that everyone we love and who we have ever loved will die, as we will ourselves. And at the same time, our human reality, the knowledge we have of reality as it is, as it has been, through countless eons of change and transformation, that reality is so beautiful and so lively, worth celebrating and cherishing and sharing. How can we learn with both wonder and humility to bear the unbearable? I find for myself that I must simply accept it, name it as the truth. We know all too well the physical fact of dying, and yet our spirits are so lonely for our departed loved ones. Another part of the mystery, knowing the inevitability, does not change the sense of loss. The hurt remains. Short lives of 6 years or 10 or 22, long lives of 82 and more, they are all short. They are all too short. That is the truth. And so we search for and we share the stories that give comfort to us. We will go to live in the realm of eternal bliss with a God who loves us, as some Christians and Muslims believe. We will be reincarnated until we reach human perfection, as the Hindus believe. Some of us are not so sure that eternal life in a heavenly realm or through a path to perfection is possible. But we don't know. We don't know. In some ways, we know less about our ultimate place in the cosmos than we do about the birth of the stars themselves. Buddhists teach that we will change and emerge in new manifestation, perhaps like returning to the stardust from which we are made. And in a way, we are already there, returning to another state made of the same elements. I take comfort in living on in the elements that make the entire universe. And I learned early the lesson that I have had to learn again and again. That which overwhelms, even frightens us, also teaches us if we are willing to learn. The universe is an impersonal void which seems not to care about the happiness of any of us. The positive feedback loops of Earth's climate, amplifying more extreme weather and withering the diversity of species, those loops create a scenario ripe for nightmares. My father will never again ask me an imponderable question, nor give me his answer. But I will continue, I must continue, maybe you will too, to explore the mystery, the conundrum that none of us can escape. I will love what will die. I cannot live without loving. I will suffer loss. And I will do all of this, not as a tiny microcosmic entity alone in the void on a terrifying planet over which I have no control. I will not love and live and suffer as a particle of dust. My living and loving and suffering will take place in the blink of a cosmic eye and still held tenderly within the macrocosm of community, the community I foster from the microcosm of human existence. We will all live and love and suffer, cushioned and comforted by the communities we choose to create and which we embrace and tend with loving care, with all the loving care we can bring to bear, as if our very lives depended upon it, because they do. They do. We all depend on communities of care, and we are all bound also to create them if we are to live with that which is impossible to bear alone. The poet says, to live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends upon it, and when the time comes, to let it go. To let it go, both awful and beautiful as that is. This ever-spinning universe is our home. We are both in it and of it. We will pass out of consciousness of it, and we will grieve and mourn and not be reconciled with this great truth. Yet there is hope because we have each other, because we all suffer in this same way, because we share and lift the burden of this human inevitability for each other, each in our turn. Because we say yes to life. And so I invite you to rise as is best for you, to sing hymn number 6 in the gray book with the words on the screen as well. May we listen to that eternal voice, small inside us, that reminds us we are all connected to everything and to each other. May we gather together in this mystery, strong, and open our hearts to our reality, gathering strength by bearing the truth together. May we continue to say yes to life, greeting each mysterious and lively day with hope and love, as you remember today and every day. You are loved, you are worthy, you are welcome, and you are needed. May you feel it so. May it be so. And may we say, Amen.